So until now we have our database in place, entity framework in place, and ASP.NET Web API in place. Okay. Now the only thing remaining is the UI. As I told you earlier, we are creating the project in this particular folder. Here, all the service side code will be written inside this DAL folder, and again there will be another folder over here called UI, and inside that UI folder we will be having the UI layer, that means your Angular code. So let us start writing that Angular code. So the easiest way to do it is go to the address bar and type cmd, enter. That will open a command prompt at the same folder. Okay, you don't have to navigate to that folder after opening a command prompt. That's a shortcut. Now you can type here code space dot. Code stands for Visual Studio Code, and dot means open the Visual Studio Code in this particular folder. Okay, now I hit enter. Notice that your Visual Studio Code IDE has opened in that particular folder. So what you can do is you go to View and Terminal. That would open your terminal. That is an inbuilt terminal inside this IDE. So instead of using this command prompt, you can directly use the terminal which is embedded into this IDE. Okay, so what you can do is View and Terminal. Keyboard shortcut is Control Backtick. Backtick is the key that is just below your escape key. Now let me expand it a bit. So let me collapse this Explorer and let me expand this guy. Okay. Now my terminal hasn't appeared properly. It might be a problem for you also. It adds some spaces for some people like me. So what you can do is you can just write here CLS. Okay. Now your terminal is working fine. Now first of all, test whether Node is properly installed on your system, npm is installed, and Angular is installed. So how will you test that? Just type here node dash dash version. You're getting some version. That means Node is properly installed. Then say npm dash dash version. You are getting that too. That means Node and npm are properly installed. If you do not get the versions over here, if you get error messages like Node is not a recognized command or npm is not a recognized command, then just go to this particular website nodejs.org and click on this particular button. It will install Node.js on your system. Along with Node.js, it will also install Node Package Manager, that is npm. Okay. Now that you have Node and npm properly installed on your system, what we can do is test whether Angular is installed. So what you can do is ng dash dash version. Here ng stands for Angular and we want the version of Angular installed on the system. Hit enter. Notice that it is giving me this Angular CLI given in ASCII, and it is giving me the version of Angular CLI. CLI stands for command line interface. It means it is like a terminal for Angular. Okay, so you can give command line commands for creating your project, creating components, creating services, directives, pipes, whatnot. You can do everything in CLI. Then CLI in turn is using Node. This is again the same version of Node.js on my system. Okay, and Node in turn is using my operating system, and my operating system is Win32 64-bit. Okay, so this is the information it is giving you, and it is using IV, which is the latest version of rendering engine that Angular uses. Of course, I'm using Angular 9, as you can see over here. The core is 9 point something. That means the Angular version that I'm using is 9. Okay, even the CLI is of the version 9. Okay, so that is clear. If you do not see this particular message, then what should you do? That means Angular is not properly installed in your system, and in that case you should just give here npm I for install dash g for globally, and here you can give @angular / core. That will install Angular core on your system without the CLI, and if you want Angular CLI, then you should write @angular / CLI. Okay, so this is what you do. But as you know, Angular is properly installed on my system, so I won't be giving this command. I will give cls command for clearing the screen, and now I can start building my project. So how do I create my project? Now this is my EIS folder. As we had already discussed, the service side code will be in DAL folder. We need a UI folder over here, and that will contain my Angular code. So here I'm giving the command ng for Angular new for creating a new project by the name of UI. So definitely it will form a folder by name UI, and inside that it will have all the Angular code. But here, if I just run this, then it will be a very verbose project. And if you want a minimalistic project, that means just the bare bones, then you can write dash dash minimal. Okay, so it will create a minimalistic project. Least amount of uh, packages will get installed by default. And then on the need basis, you can install more and more packages as and when you need them. Uh, Besides this, there are a lot of other options, like whether you want test cases or not, whether you want to first dry run it, like dry run equal to true, you can write. And there are many other options, like do you want which kind of a style sheet do you want routing or not, etc. But I'm not going into detail. You can go through all the detailed commands of command line interface, that is Angular CLI, by going on angular.io website. Okay, so presently we are just creating a new project by name UI, and it will be minimal. That means least amount of node package modules will be installed on it. I'll hit enter. The first question it will ask me is, do you want routing? So trust me, say yes for this. Here it will ask you to select between these styling options. So either you can use SCSS or SAS or less or stylus, or if you don't know any of these, then you can directly install CSS. So you can go around these by up and down arrow keys, and whichever option you want, like I want CSS, then I'll just hit enter over here. Now it will create that project. And finally, your project is created. So let us go and inspect how is your project. Your project is this one, and it has a source folder which has all your source code. It has apps which contains all your apps. Here there's your routing module. Okay, now where is the main entry point of this solution? So it is this main.ts. So let us see that first. Let me close this terminal so that we can have a better view. In this, the important thing is that it is saying that your bootstrap module is app module. Now you hold down the control key and just click on it. So it will take you directly to the app module. Here is your app module. Where is it? In the source folder, app module. Now this app module in turn says that my bootstrap component is app component. So hold down the control key again and click on it. So you will go to your app component. Now what does the app component say? That, whenever you call me, this is my template. Okay, if you want to create a separate file for this template, you can very well do that, but I'm not going to need it actually. All that it says is welcome to whatever is the title, and what title have I given? UI. Okay, so now when I run this particular application, I'll be able to see welcome to UI. Okay, and below that, at the end, it is saying router outlet. So this router outlet means what? Um, Now, whichever route you're at, here routes are not given, but whichever route you're at, whatever is the component for that, that component will be shown over here in place of this router outlet. Okay, so this is how your code works. Now, how do you run this particular code of UI? That is quite simple. Just open the terminal once again, view, terminal, minimize this guy. Okay, now just say here ng serve dash o. Dash o means dash dash open. What that does is it basically builds your project and deploys it onto a local server, just like you previously had IIS Express server. Just like that, Angular has its Angular Live Development Server. Okay, and dash dash open, what this does is it opens that application into your default browser. Okay, so I'm just hitting enter here. Oh yes, now this command is not to be run over here. It has to be run in your Angular project. And where's your Angular project? It is in the UI folder. Okay, I run into this issue a lot. You might also run into that. Now here this ngserve command is recognized. So as you can see, as soon as your compiling is done, it automatically opens it in your default browser. Besides, if you change anything in your project, like let us go to this particular app component, and if I say that the UI title should be UI Amit Shirasao, then if you go back over here, it automatically refreshes itself and it is now showing welcome to UI Amit Shirasao. So whatever changes you make to the application, they are live shown on the browser. That means your deployment is live. The deployment of these files is absolutely live, and that is why it is called as a live server. Now let me open the terminal once again. It is anyway showing you very clearly that first of all, what it did is it compiled Angular Core, Angular Common, Platform Browser Dynamic, and Router. It all compiled it in ECMAScript 6, also called as ECMAScript 2015. Okay, and then it created 5 bundles. Okay, this is your main bundle, polyfills bundle, runtime, styles, vendor. Okay, whatever it is. Main means this is your main code. Okay, polyfills means this bundle is used for cross-browser functionality so that your application works seamlessly on all the browsers. And now, runtime is the actual Angular runtime. Then styles are, all your styling is bundled into style.js, and vendor means all the third-party npm packages that you're using are into vendor.js. Okay, and see, Angular live deployment server is listening on this particular local host and this port. And that is why in the browser you will see that localhost 4200 is that Angular live development server. Okay, so this is how it is. It's a hyperlink, by the way. This ID is amazing. So as soon as it says compile successful, it will automatically open it in your browser. So this is how your UI project works. Now what we need actually is just one title, that is EIS over here, and that is on our landing page, let us say. And we don't need all of these things. These are additional things that it has given us. So what I'll do is I'll just close this terminal. It is still running. Even if you close it, it is still running. Don't worry about it. If you open the terminal again, see, you're on the same spot. So I'll close it, and here in the template, I'm not going to have anything except one header. Okay, and the header should just say EIS or Employee Information System. Okay, now you might say that how am I giving this in multiple lines? Because I'm giving backtick over here. It is not quotes, it is backtick. So if you want to span some string across multiple lines, then you should always be giving backtick. Now let us see. See, it is only given one H1 and it is saying that employee information system. Now this was a brief overview of your Angular project. Now what is remaining is creation of various components and then routing to them. And this component should be using a service, let us say employee service, and that service in turn should be calling the web API to get the data. So let's see that in the next video.